Hello, I'm John Edwards of the Wedge Live podcast. And you know what I don't do enough of is promote the Patreon, patreon.com/wedgelive. We're here on a sailboat recording this, and that's not cheap. The sailboat was free, but we had to set up these cameras and the audio. Like, this is an elaborate, expensive operation. We got the fuzzy mics here on our life vests.
Real.
This costs money to do this, money and time and effort, and it doesn't happen without you. So patreon.com/wedgelive.
Disclaimer, this is not intended as a campaign finance violation. This is a pledge drive, like how the Wedge Live podcast was founded with Jason Garcia's Wedge Live Pledge-a-thon.
This is like public television. Thank you for your support, and thank you, Taylor, and thank you for listening.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
Taylor, you and I have had many adventures together. Do you remember the time a few weeks ago when we rode an elevator up to the top of a skyscraper to talk to our lawyer about the campaign finance complaint that was filed against us?
That was a good perk.
That was
fun.
That was exciting. But today, even more exciting, we've met a man with access to a sailboat, and that makes us nautical passenger princesses, I think.
Finally.
This is the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. This is Taylor Dahlin, my co-host.
That's right.
For a special sailboat episode of the Wedge Live podcast with our guest, Michael Wilson, who's an at-large candidate for the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board. Thank you for taking us out on this sailboat.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, it's really great to get out here. You know, with the campaign, it's obviously pretty busy, running citywide, and I work a full-time job, a lot of things going on these days, and it's just really nice to be able to have any time to get out. So, in thinking about doing some publicity, I was like, hey, let's kill a couple birds with one stone and get out here and enjoy the summer on the sailboat here with y'all.
I think this is my first sailboat ride. Is this your first sailboat ride?
No, I went when I was like 18. My friend had a sailboat, but it was kind of a disaster. It's not a very happy story, but she accidentally piloted the sailboat into like some trees, and it knocked some birds' nests, and the eggs cracked on the boat. It was not a fun adventure.
You're such a downer, Taylor.
It's just the truth. So this is already going a lot smoother.
So Michael, I was reading on your website. I don't know if this is your current job, but you were like related to swimming with the park board.
Yeah.
Is that your current job?
It's not my current job, no. My current job, I manage federal grant funding at the University of Minnesota School of Public Health, which was a very stable career up until the Trump 2 presidency. It's
a bad time for that to be your job.
Yeah. It's a wild time, and but it's really important. And I love my work that I do. Having grant funding for our researchers and faculty in the School of Public Health, obviously critically important. But yeah, for a long time I had a career in like aquatic management, and as a lifeguard. Then I kind of kept on getting promoted when I first moved to Minneapolis. First at the YMCA, then MPRB, and I eventually was overseeing operations at all the water parks, pools, and beaches, including Nokomis Main Beach over here. And it was fantastic, awesome job. I learned a lot about the park system, really fell in love with the park system. One of the fun things about aquatics, as opposed to most recreation things in the park system, is that it's citywide. It's not segmented off into service areas like a lot of recreation is. And so I was doing stuff down here in Lake Nokomis, up at like Theodore Worth, all across the city. And it was great. I ended up organizing to form the first full-time lifeguard union in 2021. The summer of 2020 being a public servant in a very public-facing role with, I think, public trust in city servants was at an all-time low. And our young part-time staff of lifeguards were amazing that summer, and really gave me a lot of hope for our future public servants. And,
So you had an interesting idea. I have to compliment you. Your park board website is like has the most thorough issues page of any I've seen.
All right, we're gonna come about here pretty soon too. And I guess that's maybe a good segue, because I think part of my campaign was to really change park board candidacies in a better direction, and so we're going to change this boat in a better direction here too. So, pretty soon.
Are we going to crash, Michael?
Nope, but we're going to stand up and move to the other side.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Standing up. We're moving to the other side.
All right, here we go.
Whoa.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
All
New
right.
camera angles.
All right. So what I'll need you to do is tug on the green rope behind you there.
Tugging on the
This
green
is also
rope.
a sailing lesson. It's a very interactive
We're tugging
podcast.
on the green rope.
All right, and basically what we'll do, like pull it on right here, and there's a cleat behind you, and so you want to basically look. You want to have it look just like this one over here, like cleated in this little area. Yeah, interactive. I'm putting you to work.
There we go. Is that good? Does that look good?
That looks pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, cool. And so now we changed directions, and I think my campaign has really changed the direction of a lot of the park candidacies. I think. I mean, I think what we have seen before is a lot of MPRB candidates really phone it in and not really do a lot of talking to delegates, not a lot of talking to voters, or not really doing a lot of community engagement. And we see that in their campaigns, and then we see that when they're in office too, is not really being there to do a lot of engagement with folks. And maybe you can scoot up that way just a tad. And so I think I'm really committed to community engagement and community decision making and all the things that we do, like things like open parkways. I think that a lot of us agree that that is a good idea, but just to have like a one size fits all approach to just do it right away, it really requires a lot of community engagement with like the usership, and a lot of our parkways are very different from each other, and so we really want to like engage with people deeply. Same with like the Minnehaha dog park fence, the youth program registration, all this stuff. I think Park Board doesn't do a great job of like proactive community engagement about policy. I will say, when a playground needs to get revamped at a park, the Park Board does a really good job with that. So I want to give credit where it's due, for sure. But yeah, I think one of the goals of my campaign was to really raise the level of discourse on park issues and have the Park Board candidacies not be really so down ballot and out of people's minds, but let people know that like this is really important to run like a city council member, to run like it's actually a real serious thing, because it is. And so I think we sometimes see candidates run in a way that is more geared towards leapfrogging into their next role than geared towards sticking around on Park Board. And sometimes we'll like raise a lot of money, buy like a bunch of votes, buy a bunch of mailers to get a bunch of votes. And while that can be successful to winning, it's not successful for a Park Board that serves everybody here in Minneapolis.
One of the things I liked is that you're talking about swimming lessons and like drowning prevention for third graders. It's a really small bore issue, an important one, but like small enough that like it tells me you're taking this seriously a little bit, because it's like a small achievable thing that people can grab onto and say, okay, this is what this guy's about.
Someone told me about you that they were, I don't even remember who this was now, but they told me how impressed they were that they talked to you and you cited this one specific study, maybe about drowning prevention.
Ooh, yeah.
And they were just like, I've never heard anyone just mention that like that. Like they were just so impressed.
Well, a lot of the, oh geez. We got a lot of good wind today here, folks, and we're really picking it up here on this race and the sailboat here.
No more of that, Michael Wilson.
Hey,
I'm tired of
there is
your
a reason that
transitions are irritating me.
there is a reason that sailboat metaphors are ubiquitous in the English language, and that will be happening today.
But I'm the captain of this podcast. No more sailboat metaphors.
Oh man, we're gonna keep our trousers up, eyes to the sky here. Swim lessons for third graders, and some of these niche issues. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that led me to run is that like I was very, very passionate as a worker in aquatics in our park system. Anyone who has worked with me in MPRB knows that. And one of my favorite things working at the park board was our lifeguard in-services. Like we read the mission statement every single time. And really, it was a really great practice in kind of priming our younger generation for public service in such a wonderful park system. It really was a joy. And, you know, the more I did that, it was apparent to me that some of the data-driven best practices about things like preventing youth drowning with kids with autism, some of that stuff was given lip service to, kind of like generally in our society. But it's really, there's some things that like with a little bit of energy and investment can make a huge difference in health equity. And here in the city of Lakes, I mean, having all of our kids be able to like not drown when they go to the lakes, that's not only like a racial equity issue, but that's like an accessibility issue. Like it's one thing to like have like parkways and bikeways and like transit connections for everyone to get to the lakes, but not dying once you get here is very much like a racial divide right now. And that is absolutely preventable. It's something that none of this is my idea for sure. I'm just like happy to learn about it and talk about it a lot. But yeah, the effort in MPRB Aquatics to have every third grader have swim lessons was something that predates my involvement in MPRB and has continued since I've left. And yeah, they've really done a great job getting some grant funding to fund the pilot program for that. It is still in the works to be launched. One thing the reason I put it on my website and I'm talking about it is because whenever we look at potential austerity for things, I worry about what could be cut. I don't want that to be cut. And yeah,
that's the era we're about to enter is cutting programming so that we can keep taxes low for people in Southwest Minneapolis. That's what we do.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And it doesn't need to be like that, though. I'm sure I don't really want to rehash everything that you talked about with previous candidates on these episodes, but, I know...
it's okay.
Talked about.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's inevitable. There's only so many...
People will only watch this one because it's on a sailboat.
Hey, yeah, it's true. But, things like cutting youth program specialists to go towards, like, general trail maintenance, hypothetically... those kinds of cuts happened before this second Trump era, and right now our youth are facing a crisis, and we really need to protect the investments in youth that we already have made. And even just a week and a half ago, the Trump administration withheld $74 million of federal funding to Minnesota public schools, and MPS's closest partner is MPRB, and historically MPRB has been not thrilled about giving more than we get from MPS. And while I understand that sometimes in some ways, I generally think that's not great governance. And especially right now, it is all hands on deck for our public school system while it's under attack. And we have one of the best park systems in the entire country. Our public school system is not getting those kind of accolades, and it is deeply under attack right now. And we are in the perfect position to step up and really help out with before and after school programming and all of our youth programs.
What a lovely day. Planes flying overhead here on Lake Nokomis. There's a bird. What kind of bird is that?
I believe that's a cormorant.
Oh, yeah.
We got the bridge here.
What bridge is this?
This is Cedar Avenue, yeah. You'll notice that it's not Highway 77, which is something that's interesting right here because Highway 77 ends right before it gets to Minneapolis. And that is because a lot of these homes around here were racial covenant homes, and there's a high concentration of racial covenants around here. And those homes successfully fought highway development here, while at the exact same time, I-35W cut a huge population of black and brown folks from MLK Park. And MPRB did not put up they were perfectly fine with that, but MPRB stepped in to put up a big fight about Highway 77 here. And that is but one example of how highway development and MPRB...
Have you ever noticed they never put a bridge over the skinny part of Lake of the Isles? I always think a bridge would be nice here to cross the skinny part of Lake of the Isles. I hate having to walk all the way around the tip.
Yeah, I was talking about that with... It might have been Conrad's... I forget. I was talking about that with someone recently. It sounds like maybe not enough... It sounds like a big project for... I'm not sure how much benefit.
Was he bringing that up seriously?
I
hope not.
I don't know. I think it was more of a thought experiment.
I'd go for a tunnel under Lake of the Isles.
Oh my gosh.
People mover.
Yeah, escalator.
No, can you talk more about, like, I think one thing that seems to be really relevant in a lot of the park board races this year is the union factor. And after the strike last year and how LiUNA is, like, really, going after the candidates last year who didn't support the strike. I guess what do you how do you? I'm sure you were supporting the union, but like, what is your take on that? 'Cause I know.
Yeah, my take on it is that, as someone who organized the first full-time lifeguard union at the park board, I think that the park board just generally needs to kind of take a different tack, like we're going to do right now on its labor negotiations.
Go under the bridge.
The sailboat doesn't really fit underneath the bridge. All right, so we're going to need you both to be on the other side of the boat here.
We're switching. Switching.
All right. So what I'm going to need you to do is pull on the red rope and.
All right, red rope.
I feel like I'm just using a bomb.
Red rope.
Cut the right color wire.
Red rope.
Yeah, wrap it around the cylinder there.
There we go. Okay. There we are.
This is awesome.
Oh, it's not going in the thing.
The fun thing about sailing is that, like,
Oh, we got it.
it's not exactly rocket science, but yeah, I think that it was poor timing and just poor general approach to be telling our arborists that right after giving the superintendent a 10% raise, that the arborists, that it wasn't a good investment to be giving our arborists a wage that keeps up with inflation. It's after the Emerald Ash Borer crisis. We're going to be behind on tree pruning for a long time, upwards of 5 to 8 years of being behind on tree pruning. And there's so much talk about growing our urban tree canopy and the financial benefits of our tree canopy in terms of stormwater mitigation, in terms of reducing the cooling costs for people's homes. Anything other than full throat leaning into having a robust and well compensated group of arborists here in Minneapolis, is wrong-headed. I mean, there's so much. There's a carbon offset credit scheme that is happening right now. It was piloted in 2022. Almost no one knows about it. I think if more people in Minneapolis knew that all of our public trees were being commodified to greenwash Xcel Energy and Centerpoint and Winslow Capital.
So I want to ask about that.
Yeah.
That's obviously a scam, the tree offset thing to me, but I can see the point. Like, this is money the park board would not have otherwise.
Well,
participating in the greenwashing brings in more money for the park board, and it is a scam on the general public. But is it better that the park board has that money than not?
Well, I would like to know exactly what money it's getting. First, I think that it is highly unclear right now. It's not really even called revenue on the most recent budget. It says something to the effect, very equivocal, like assuming there is revenue from the offset credit program, it may be determined that more of this money will go towards buying trees. It is highly questionable to me. It's hard for me to speak definitively on because it's opaque, but I have not seen the money being put towards buying new trees.
Right. And the reason I say it's a scam is because these are trees the park board should be planting anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so they're taking money for these carbon offsets for trees that should be planted and taken care of anyway, because we should have trees in a city. And so that's why I think it's a scam.
Yeah, I like to say that it's missing the forest through the trees. If we want to grow our urban tree canopy, investing in the workers who do the planting, the pruning, the maintaining, the watering, that's really how we get there. And the entire carbon offset credit program is built on not paying the arborists anymore and not having a larger workforce to do the work.
Right. Are we in trouble, Michael? Or do we have
we're going to come about here again.
We're going to have to shift?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will mind the microphone here. But I think we're getting good at this.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, it came out again.
Yeah, so I'm going to like that here. Oh, rock'em sock'em out here on Lake Nokomis.
Back to the union. So when I hear candidates who are pro-union, labor endorsed, saying that the park board is engaging in union busting tactics, I never feel like it's articulated further for me, a person who is not like deep into that. Like, what is that referring to?
It refers to when the union voted the strike authorization, and there were some poison pills, quote unquote, put into the negotiation from the park board side of things. Some of those poison pills included, I believe a much lower cap on union stewards, raises that would be contingent on like supervisor approval instead of like just being automatic like they were going to be. Oh, jeepers. And so I don't know all the details about what was on the table or off the table negotiating wise, but those were just some examples of once the strike authorization happened, the park board was much more aggressive and in like the negotiation, and that was at a time when other elected officials around the state were like, hey, we gotta not have such negative labor press coming out of Minneapolis right now. Can we settle the strike? And a lot of the park board commissioners kind of crossed their arms and said no, and that was, I think, kind of a symptom of some commissioners not really behaving like they're in the entire pantheon of elected governments, and not really knowing that it's great to play nice with other bodies of government. And also it was the first strike that MPRB ever had. I think they were not knowing what they were getting into and I think park board is not really that used to having everyone's eye on the park board. I think park board is used to having some small areas of negative press, but not the entire eye of the state being put on them for some labor issue that they've never had to deal with before.
And I think one issue too, you mentioned that park board aren't used to having their eyes on them, and I think that that ties into what you're trying to do with like raising awareness of like eroding the doom level of park board campaigns, because I know this just in trying to follow some issues in trying to, like, the park board meetings aren't transparent like, let's say, city council is. Like, city council, all their meetings go on YouTube automatically. Park board, only some do. You can email to get others. So, like, yeah, I feel like they're kind of able to operate in the shadows a little bit and get things, like, I tried to dig things up and it's like, oh, I got to email this person to find it. It's not as transparent. Yeah. And it's a huge budget, so.
Yeah, it is. And, it's not as transparent. And also, like, even, the more I've done, like, community organizing, political organizing, even some of the best political organizers around here I know, like, don't have the time or energy to watch park board meetings. Like, of all the things, they're very long. There's all kinds of stuff that isn't very exciting in these, like, sometimes 5-6 hour long meetings. And, it takes kind of a wonk to really get into it. But it does have a very outsized role in Minneapolis politics. I mean, the park board president sits on BET, Board of Estimate and Taxation. There's park commissioners on intergovernmental boards all over the city for all kinds of things. There's 7,000 acres of land here. Where the MPRB is the biggest landholder in Minneapolis, the largest employer of youth. MPRB has a lot, and these elected roles are no small thing.
And if you ever look at the property tax statement where it shows the portion that goes to parks, this is a sizable budget.
Yeah.
One thing that's been irritating me in Park Board District 4 is turning down money for improvements, things like the mall, which was in the long-range plan. We're gonna take 24 parking spaces to add some more green space in Uptown. It's in the long-range plan. The Community Advisory Committee, which is like the official public engagement process that the Park Board sanctions, they approved that. It went in the plan. And then we get to the point where it's like, okay, we're getting the free money from the Met Council, which doesn't come along. Like, you're not guaranteed to get free money to implement your long-range plan. They decide, well, no, we got some neighbors who would prefer that people not park in front of their house. We can't take this parking, turn it into green space. And it happened again. It happened previously with the ADA ramp to the Greenway in Whittier, because gardeners were making stuff up about how their garden would be taken away because of it. And free money from Hennepin County to implement what was a good thing that would benefit the neighborhood. And we're going to switch seats.
We are going to switch seats. Yeah. the mall situation was a disappointment for sure.
Woo! Should we acknowledge the sweaty man that we forced to sit in the
This
cabin
is
there?
my cousin Steve Crowley.
Cousin Steve is there sweating his butt off.
Yep. Steve and I grew up sailing together. And he's helping us kind of get things going on the sailboat today.
Thanks for sweating down there.
Of course, it's my boat, but I'm more of a deckhand today.
Yeah, so
Happy to be here.
if you're watching on youtube.com/wedgelive and you see Steve hovering, we know he's there. We know we have a stowaway. It's okay.
I'm trying to be as hidden as possible.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You're on the show now. We've acknowledged you. It won't be weird.
Is that a Roof Depot?
It is.
That's
yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have done a lot of community organizing with the Roof Depot EPNI struggle over the last whole bunch of years, and I won this at an auction. It was for Gertrude Brown Community Land Trust, and I donated $20. I got a call a couple days later that I won the raffle, and I got a free tattoo. Let's see, I'm trying to remember your whole question again.
The mall and the ADA ramp through the Greenway. The fact that the park board is turning down free money, ignoring planning staff, ignoring community engagement. These things would have been paid for largely with money from other levels of government to make the parks better. They're just turning the money down because, I don't know. It's hugely frustrating.
It is
I'm very mad at Elizabeth Schaefer. Both those things happen in District 4.
But yeah, that is deeply frustrating. At a time that I've heard some candidates be like, yeah, I'm really interested in, having alternative revenue sources. And, the alternative revenue sources have been right in front of us. And turning them down is really a slap in the face to not only the planning process. I think Tom Olson has spoken to this very cogently, that it's really disrespectful to the deep planning process that happens for some of these things. And, the amount of staff time that gets put into these long range plans, really disappointing. I think, I don't know if you saw Tom Olson put something on Twitter yesterday, a campaign video of him being like, hi, I'm Tom Olson. I support green space over parking spaces. Now watch this drive.
I'm Tom Olson. I'm running for park board, and I support green space over parking. Now watch this drive. Shit.
But that and then he hits this golf ball in a hilarious way, which
Drive sailing.
Yeah. But I think supporting green space over parking space is that's something that Tom has been a champion for, and that's something that I really admire him about, and something that I really want to follow in the footsteps for. We have a board that has been car centric, and a lot of accessibility. Our accessibility options include cars. That's just the reality of our world right now. But also involves public transportation on parkways, having being able to get to our parks by biking. I was biking to Open Swim here at Lake Nokomis a couple of years ago, and I was hit by a car on my bike and totaled my bike. It was a huge bummer, and the reason I walked away from that was because it was in a roundabout, and the car was slowed down enough from the roundabout that it didn't completely take me out. It hurt like the dickens, and I was really upset emotionally. But I think it wasn't on a parkway; it was on on 17th Avenue. But having those kind of traffic calming measures on all city streets, especially ones around parks, namely parkways, is not only life-saving, but just good practice to allow modes of transportation that don't prioritize cars all the time.
So you've used two phrases here that I want to key in on. Earlier you said jeepers, and then you just said hurt like the dickens. How old are you?
Okay, I know how old you are. You have a Trogdor the Burninator tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
So you are...
Probably exactly, yeah.
You probably graduated high school around 2005.
Let's see, 2011? Eight, yes, thanks, Steve. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, that is so funny. I forget about this sometimes. Actually, Steve's little brother gave me this tattoo. I love you know who that is. Trogdor the Burninator.
I don't know who that is.
Well, there was a weird period of internet history where homestylerunner.com was a thing for 13-year-olds like me or whatever. I don't know, nothing really that interesting, just tunes, games, characters, emails.
Funny little videos, yeah. It's still up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
I don't know. Maybe some of the listenership will enjoy that, who knows.
The little factoid. Oh yeah, I saw that, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Jeepers for the Dickens.
Yeah. Who says that anymore? Have you heard that in a while?
No, but didn't you teach youth a lot? If you're around youth, you can't be
Are
swearing.
you self-censoring with those?
I mean, yeah, I used to teach sailing actually in the Chesapeake Bay for a couple of years. I've done a lot of like youth program stuff, swim lessons like crazy, and you start using words like dude, that's bogus, or like jeepers creepers, and like I don't know, like I am a sailor. I could swear like a sailor if need be, but one of my top platform issues is expanding youth programs and like preschool childcare. And I think your audience would be fine with me using some 4-letter sailing words, but I'm trying to keep it consistent here.
I mean, there is a pirate flag on this boat.
Oh, is there?
Oh, I saw it. I don't know where it is, but yeah.
I'm going to read a statement from your website, and I think I know what it's about, but I'm going to ask you what it's about. We should encourage, and this is on transportation, we should encourage multiple transportation options to meet the diverse needs of park users and work with city, state, county, and regional partners to cooperate on transportation plans that our residents and our environment need. So can you name some things that might be referring to?
Yeah, well, the Blue Line extension, that is one thing that the Park Board was a difficult partner in with other levels of government to get through. Actually, I frequent a store in South Minneapolis where the cashier on Sunday mornings is actually an engineer or an architect on the Blue Line, and sometimes we get into it. It's really fun. But yeah, the Park Board hasn't been the best player in making that happen and moving it forward. I think we're in a better place now, but we don't need to be sending plans like the Blue Line extension back to different bodies of government, having publicly funded civil servants at each of these government institutions be drafting plans just to be rejected for no reason ad infinitum. That's not good governance. That's not good, stewardship of taxpayer dollars. And I think we need to be working with our intergovernmental partners to reduce vehicle miles traveled by 2050. Like I know that we have a state goal to reduce vehicles miles traveled by 20% by 2050, and Park Board has a role to play in that, along with the county, along with City Council, along with state legislature, and we need to act like it.
They also I've seen them hassle the Met Council, Metro Transit over just like BRT stops on parkland. This is an amenity for the parks, having a BRT stop at the lakes, so that people can get to the lakes. They would never do this if it applied to car transportation. Like we're going to make it harder for people to drive to our parks. They wouldn't tolerate that.
Like they wouldn't be like, we're not going to put a parking lot here.
Yes.
Especially if you look at it in like the history of our park system, and when they have selectively opposed and enabled highway development, there is a history and a trajectory of prioritizing outside tourism dollars to get here, but not our local neighborhood folks to get to our marquee parks. And that, I think, is, it's not that I am opposed to suburban tourism dollars, but when local neighborhood folks can't take a bus to Lake Nokomis, that needs to be priority, in my opinion. Like, I think, the nearest bus stop to Nokomis Main Beach, what is it, like 5-6 blocks away? And there are some parks that do have good bus stops on there, but it's not because of the parkway system. Like you can take a bus to Theodore Wirth on the parkway. Besides that, it's slim pickings, and there's really not great reasons for that right now.
There's several mentions of you being a member of the Democratic Socialists. You are a Democratic Socialist. You've got a Democratic Socialist of America hat.
Yep, probably.
The much feared DSA. And it's become, so there are people in the city aligned with our current mayor, that we've got multiple PACs, trying to make a villain out of the DSA. And I wonder if you have thoughts about that. Like, what does it mean to be a Democratic Socialist who is running for the park board? Should we be scared of what you're all about?
Well, I don't know if y'all have looked at the MPRB mission statement, but the fact that there's ever been a capitalist on park board is probably more alarming to me, because, having public third spaces that exist for the health and well-being of all people in the community, I feel extremely congruent being a Democratic Socialist here. I'm proudly a Democratic Socialist. I've been very involved in DSA for a number of years, served on the steering committee of our local chapter, And what we're seeing and have seen, especially recently, is that organized people beat organized money. And we see that with Soren Mamdani in New York. And we're seeing that locally as well. I think, on park board and park board candidacies, there can be organized money. People can get big donors and win these elections. And then we see the results. A park board majority that is not responsive to constituent feedback, not responsive to even doing a pilot study to see what people need on the parkways. And we need organized people to get together and do, we got the Open Swim Club coming up here, great, which is a fantastic program. So we're going to do, in a little bit, we're going to come back around. But a big part of my campaign is organizing people. And one of the things that is really exciting to me is that I know that historically what we have seen sometimes is progressives get elected to park board and they get overwhelmed, sometimes iced out of things. And there is just so much to kind of turn the ship, no pun intended, of park board, and they're very much left on an island. Instead of having park board candidates that were progressive be elected to park board and be kind of on an island without a movement space behind them, these are really tough roles. Someone like Becky Alper, for example, is carrying a lot, and she doesn't have campaign, she doesn't have staff in her office. She is carrying a lot. And one thing that I think really helps me out is that I'm not coming into this alone. I'm coming into this with an entire movement space, not only with Lyuna Foresters, but with my DSA folks who we organize with. And we don't go into things alone. We go into things together, whether it be union organizing, tenant organizing, environmental justice organizing. And I mean, a lot of times when people think of politics, I think it's just electoral politics, but it's just one piece of the Democratic toolkit. And I'm not coming into this alone. I wouldn't be able to. I don't think it's something that anyone could do successfully alone without a lot of support. And I don't think that's really how democracy works. Democracy is something that we do together. What DSA is a lot of disagreement, a lot of hashing and rehashing. And sometimes what we see on park board and other levels is that when someone disagrees with someone like Kathy Bene or something that can feel really hurtful to her. When someone disagrees with me, that is a very fruitful, I want that, and that's how we do democracy. We hash and rehash dialectically to get to something better. And I'm not out here trying to say that I know exactly how our parkways need to be used, and I know everything about Minnehaha Creek watershed management, or everything about all that. There is so much that goes into it, and it just takes someone who's grounded in movement space to know how to do the hard work of democracy in those movement spaces to really get it done, to collectively together.
It just does not feel of this era, the level of Red Scare, anti-DSA rhetoric in the Minneapolis, in the conservative wing, if I could say conservative wing of the Minneapolis DFL. I don't get it. I'm not in the DSA, but I have friends, and we share causes. We push for a lot of the same things. I have friends who are allies of mine who are in the DSA on a lot of stuff. And it feels like there are people like Scott Graham and his ilk who hate the DSA more than they have a problem with Republicans in Ward 7 supporting Elizabeth Schaefer. They want to purge the DSA, who I feel warm feelings towards, even if I'm not a member. And I don't understand it. Do you have thoughts on that?
I really can't speak for Scott Graham or what some of the, I think our world can feel very scary when you're alone and have a very hierarchical great man theory of history, and how I think it can feel really isolating and scary. And I think we all are carrying a lot of hurt and trauma, just living in the world, and these are scary times, and what we do with that, it's tough. I don't think it's easy for anybody. I think some people respond to that by being more isolated, more entrenched, and using fear tactics. And I think a braver way that I try to practice, I'm not always perfect at it, but I think a lot of people try to practice reaching out and having a wider frame of reference and being how can we make how can we make our material conditions in this world together better? And there's not, I think if anyone thinks that they know the way to do that, they're pulling your leg. I know I don't. There's a lot of ways to, be moving forward. And, I guess I'm not really sure what to say. I can't really speak for Scott Graham.
Yeah, I want you to trash Scott Graham here on my podcast. Say the meanest thing you can think of about Scott Graham.
Like literally, I guess this is pretty mean. I don't think about Scott Graham. I think about the peers who I see. I think about those kids having a good time out there on the lake. I want them to be able to swim in this lake and have it be a quality a park experience for them. I think about my cousin Steve and my other peers who are having kids right now, which is a much braver thing to be doing in our city and our society than me running for park board. And it is my obligation as someone who doesn't have kids to be doing the fights in the halls of power that are available to me, to be really expanding our public services for young families and making this a destination for working families. We're coming out here.
Okay, we salute you, cousin Steve, down there. Okay, let's mic check. Everybody's got their mic. Okay. All right. Taylor, I don't know about you, but I was very insulted by that last answer. He's talking about he doesn't think about Scott Graham when you and I, as if he's better than us, because you and I, we think about Scott Graham constantly, don't we?
I have a mug with his face on it, actually. And that's.
I mean, as someone who's a democratic socialist, I have a long history of people being like, oh, well, when you get older, you'll know that actually capitalism is the best thing ever. Or actually, it's really great when private equity, takes everything in the world and leaves you with nothing and takes your pensions and, tells you that your urban tree canopy is more important to greenwash their image than it is for actually the people who live there. I've been hearing that my whole life. I think when I talk to my elders who are democratic socialists in Minneapolis, they tell me stories about the 80s and 90s in Minneapolis. None of this stuff is new. It doesn't alarm me that there are people who are against socialism. I understand that that's going to happen. And
it feels weird now, of all times. Just very odd.
Yeah, it feels like no one's adjusted. It's like they all thought Harris was going to win, and they haven't adjusted to the new reality.
I am clutching all potential allies in this moment because, the threat from authoritarian fascism is so great. I don't know. I can't imagine spending the year 2025 just up in arms over the DSA. I don't get it.
Yeah, it might feel. Again, it's hard for me to really. It's been a really long time since I've tried to rationalize those kind of folks. I honestly don't really think about it that much. I mean, I think I concentrate on what I can do to, push for solidarity with folks in Gaza, solidarity with folks who are being abducted and taken to CCOT, solidarity with workers around the country, whether it be in Philly, our civil servants in Philly who are not getting a fair shake at the bargaining table. I focus on the things that I can do locally, and I think in these times with the rise of fascism, we can't be in every lane at once. There's a lot of really great. I mean, one of the things I grapple with a lot, and before I ran, I grappled with a lot about having to kind of be further away from East Phillips Neighborhood Institute, and I really became a great organizer there, and it feels kind of like a bummer not doing that. But not every mode of resistance is you can't fight every battle at the same time. And one thing that is very available to me is park board.
What's going on with these green triangles?
I am so happy you asked.
Are there humans in those?
So there are humans putting them there. Those are the lifeguards for open water swim. It is Thursday evening, every Tuesday and Thursday and Friday morning. There's open water swim club on Lake Nokomis, where thousands of open water swimmers come and swim around the buoys, and they, it is illegal for folks to swim in open water outside of open swim, but a number of years ago, so many people were doing it that the park board was like, you know what, actually just make it a program. It is the biggest, most successful program. Well, it's one of the biggest, most successful programs. I think it's the biggest, I don't know, that the park board does, and it's really fantastic.
Yeah. Another one park board does now that I really like in Loring Park, all summer long, every Wednesday night, you can free canoe.
Oh yeah.
Every Wednesday night, all summer. They just and
Free
they,
canoe.
yeah, you just go there and they actually like they'll put you in a canoe, like you and someone else, like they don't go with you, and they just put you out on Loring Pond. But yeah, and everyone can do that every Wednesday night through the end of August, I want to say.
Yeah, this would be a funny podcast because like this entire time I'm multitasking.
So much action.
You're more honest that way. You're occupied physically, and it's freeing your mind to not lie to us, not giving us political cliches.
Yeah. I'm really like abandoning my talking points and just kind of speaking from whatever I'm thinking right now.
I was just really hoping there were people inside of the triangles.
Have you never seen those on like Cedar Lake?
No, I've never.
It's like a marker.
I don't go to the lakes.
You don't go to the lakes. You're not a lake person.
No, I go to Loring Pond across the street.
Do you swim in Loring Pond?
I don't think you can do that. I should try jumping into the canoe one time.
That was a close call. We almost hit the green triangle.
Okay.
There, Michael
I knew what I was doing.
I just assumed there was somebody in there getting pulled, and I was like, that's fun. I want to be in the
I wasn't ready
triangle.
for that to go pop. Michael Wilson, do you have any recommendations here as we're sailboating on Lake Nokomis? What do you enjoy besides this?
Oh, yeah, besides this, I love swimming, like sailing. I like Marble League. Have you ever heard of Marble League?
What's that?
It is a okay. So in like 2020, when like the pandemic happened and all like the sports stuff was shut down, you couldn't like go to things. A lot of people got turned on to something called Marble League, and it's basically like a YouTube channel. Yella's Marble League, Jelles, and it's like marble races and marble games. Like there's like Marbula 1, Marble Olympics.
Oh, the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that. Seen that.
So I would recommend that. I recommend people wearing their helmets when they're biking around this summer.
Helmets? You recommend helmets?
Absolutely.
I biked here without one. People are always chastising me, and I feel like I don't ride that fast.
Well, I mean, what if you have a sudden illness?
Aren't there studies that show drivers are...
I'm just going to collapse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We're getting older here, John. What if they have like
that could happen if I'm walking. Should I wear a helmet when I'm walking?
Yeah.
Well, if you're just walking, you're much less likely to get a TBI and be a burden to our public health system.
I feel like at my height, dropping from 6'5" to the ground, even walking with a sudden illness, I could be in trouble. I feel like I could wear a helmet everywhere if I was that paranoid.
Well, my recommendation is that you wear a helmet everywhere, John.
Maybe you can get a Wedge Live branded helmet, and then it would be
Or a sticker
to wear with your polo.
I have one. I just feel like I'm a leisurely cyclist. I like to bike at a conversational pace. Yeah. And I get it. There's risks. And I try to mitigate them. I don't know. People have also come to me and said, thank you for normalizing the casual helmetless cyclist. Because I feel like if we buy all this equipment to put on and we look unapproachable, people that maybe is not for me if I can't just get on a bike and go.
Well, I'm not saying put on like a full kit with like spandex and like all that stuff. I mean, here's my recommendation. Everyone should get a helmet that they like wearing and they think they look cool in, so that you're I mean, I'm talking to the audience here. I'll work on you later. All right, we're gonna come about here again.
I thought there was some study that like drivers are like less cautious
they
when
see you as less human.
They're like, oh, they're protected. I can just drive in, doesn't matter.
I would also recommend going to swim at Phillips Aquatic Center in South Minneapolis. It's low-key one of the best pools in the city, and
So what is the Phillips Aquatic Center?
Yeah, so it is a 4-lane teaching pool and a 6-lane competition pool in the Phillips Recreation Center, formerly the Boys and Girls Club.
So anyone can just go swim there?
Yep. Yeah, you can do drop-in. There's like a small fee, nominal, like not even like $5, I think. If I don't know, you can get it waived. And like really good rates on swim lessons, and all kinds of cool stuff happens there. Like there's a synchronized swimming team that practices there. I think the Sirens, that's like a LGBTQIA synchronized swimming team, who are awesome. But yeah, great stuff there. And having a pool, a year-round, indoor year-round pool in the Phillips neighborhood, which is like so diverse. The drowning rates of our immigrant population and black and brown folks is much higher than white folks. And a huge point of making that pool there is to like turn that around and to make some changes and like have a accessible place for folks to come swim. God, there's a whole tangent I could go on about like Somali moms coming in on Sundays and
Go ahead.
Okay. Basically, like what we learned at Phillips Aquatic Center is that a lot of like Somali men and boys were coming to swim, and we'd kind of be like, all right. A lot of it is like relationship building, like, hey, like getting to know some of these folks and be like, hey, I noticed, you have like a little sister or mom coming, and like basically through a lot of relationship building, we learned that like there are cultural differences, and Somali women weren't going to be swimming with the men. And long story short, we piloted a women's only swim on Sunday mornings, which was great. It allowed moms to come in with their kiddos and practice being around water in a safe way. And you can put a kid through swim lessons, but a lot of it is just like mom hanging out with the kids in the pool. That's really what builds.
Was that immediately popular, or did you have to do some outreach to let people know this is happening?
For sure, outreach. Got a bunch of burkinis, which would be like a culturally appropriate swimwear for East African folks. And it wasn't immediately popular. Slowly grew a membership, what's the word? Like an audience to people coming. Right. One thing that is supremely disappointing to me is that Sunday rec centers, the rec centers are closed on Sundays now, which impacts different rec centers in different ways. It impacts women's swim at Phillips Aquatic Center significantly. And that's something that I think when we do make decisions as a park board, I think not having a one-size-fits-all approach is important, and to be making some of these cost-saving measures with equity highly in mind.
That's the kind of thing you couldn't do at a public beach, but you can do at an indoor swimming center, at a private women's swim.
Yeah, we'd put blinds over the windows and stuff, and it was great. And I think a lot of folks don't realize, like, there has been such cultural change on like race and gender equity in public swimming spaces in America, and it is not something that we're done with at all. We are very much going through it as like a white population, and I've heard some people look down their nose at the Somali population about like, oh, like why are they want to be different? But no, we are all on a huge learning curve with that, and the bottom line is like we want to reduce drowning rates. Bottom line, and whatever we got to do to get there is fantastic.
Well, thank you, Michael Wilson, at-large candidate for the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board. Thank you, Taylor Dahlin, for being my fellow nautical passenger princess. My co-host here on this episode. I'm your host, John Edwards. This has been the Wedge Live Podcast. Thank you for listening.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.